Hello, 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 everyone. Welcome to another episode of Light 360. This is Pastor Lan coming to you live from Chicago. How you guys doing? How is life? Wherever you're watching from, I know that for those of us in the United States, it's afternoon, but for those who are watching from Africa, I know it's pretty late there. But thank you for joining in to Light 360. I see people joining in. Thank you for coming in. This is a very unique episode. This is the final episode of Light 360 for the year 2020. Wow. It's been a wonderful season. So this is season 2. We started it in August, and it's just been so powerful, explosive. All the various people coming on to share their stories. Season 1 was also very powerful, which I think we started around April or so, or March of this year. I can't even remember. It seems like it's so long ago. Yeah, thank you, David West. Good to see you. Good to see you. So we're just so excited today. I mean, and it's very fitting. The last person that I'm going to be having on today, just before the pandemic, like the shutdown for the pandemic hit, I had him come over for the last service that we had as a, where everybody could come together as a church. It was actually, I called him to speak on that day and just to prepare us for the pandemic. He's somebody that I love so much, and I've known him for many years. I think we met around 2003 or so. That's a long time. That's about 17 years that we've met and been in relationship and just working together. It plays a very, very special role in my life. I call him my doctor, my alternate doctor. So I have a primary care physician. I've had them, but whenever they tell me anything, I just, is the one that I go to and just send my test result to him and say, now interpret it for me and then give me some ways that I can, bring this one up or bring this one down or do this, that I don't have to, that just involves lifestyle changes or just taking some, vitamins, probiotics or, whatever. And, he's always giving me very good advice. And I really appreciate God for him and appreciate him for that. He's a very wonderful, focused young man, a family man, married with kids. He's a city light person. He's a medical doctor by profession, but he has just other passions, passions of real estate, passions of media, and so on. And I'm going to reveal something, when it comes up about this show, how this show actually started many years ago, and we're going to talk a little bit about that. Because he was very much involved in that, when it started. So, without wasting any more, time, so that we can have enough time with our guest for today, I would like to bring on to Light 360, Dr. Ade Adesuyi.
Hey guys, how y'all doing? What's happening? What's going on?
I see that you are still in your work clothes.
I just got off of work. That's why I couldn't make it at 2:30. I tried.
Yeah, I'm sure some people are wondering how come Light 360 is happening at 3 p.m. today. It's usually at 2 p.m. Well,
yeah,
you have to accommodate the doctors, so they are busy saving lives. So
yeah, it's hard, Wow, 2 o'clock in the day. That's a tall order. I was like, I'll try. I think Friday I might be able to make it. Off by an hour, but God willing, here we are. So
yeah, I'm glad that you are able to make it. This is the final episode, and you are right.
Mm-hmm.
You are the one, doing the final episode with me. Do you
Yeah.
remember many years
Yeah.
ago, maybe about I don't know whether it's 3 years ago?
I can't remember. It could
Yeah,
have been more
more
than. It could have
years
been more than that. It could have been more than
Yeah,
that.
exactly. When
A while ago.
we started a show called Lights Everywhere.
Yeah.
Then streaming media had not started. Facebook
Yeah.
was not streaming.
Yeah.
YouTube it was not streaming. It was
Yeah. It wasn't.
recorded videos that you will put up,
Yep.
and you will bring your gears, your recording gears, then to church.
Yeah.
Remember the first one was myself and Pastor Omo, and then we had other people come on. You do the recordings. And then we had all the lights and everything.
Right,
Then
right.
take it home and go and edit it.
Yeah,
Said it.
it was the good old days. I know. I remember.
See how the world has changed.
Yeah, it's changed a lot. And as much as I love to do that, it's just it was so much. I wish I had more time to do that, because that is a passion of mine. Doing media, filming movies, that whole thing. But and I do want to go back to that. I don't want to be stuck in just one discipline and then end up doing that for the rest of my life until I'm old and gray. I have so many passions. I'm multifaceted. So, but yeah, definitely.
Yeah, but that was a blessing. That was a blessing, because it was tough to do then. A lot of things are easier now, more software.
Yeah.
More,
totally.
A lot of DIY media stuff now. But then it had to be done by people professional outside.
We were doing lights, we were doing makeup, we had to do the stage design, all that stuff. And we got everything done in, like in one evening. They made many episodes. So it was fun to do. It was for a while a lot of work, but it was definitely fun to do. We had sound. We had to get the sound right, light, everything. So definitely.
So here we are right now, lights everywhere.
Yeah.
Now, it's now Light 360. The episodes that we did, they are still on YouTube.
They're on YouTube. They're still there. They haven't gone anywhere. They're gonna stay on YouTube forever.
Yeah, a lot of views and all that. So
anybody could look it up.
Yeah, amazing. So welcome.
Thank you.
I did a little introduction of you. Before I ask you to introduce yourself fully, I just want to ask how you are doing personally with this pandemic. How has it been for you, being one of the frontline soldiers, during this year?
Yeah, I mean, it's been interesting. I would have to say I've seen more COVID now. I've seen it in its face than I did back in May. So, back in May, it was a little bit more cerebral. You saw New York, they were going through their thing. You saw California, they were going through that thing. And, my brother, he's a traveling nurse. So he was in Oakland and in the Bay Area during that time. So he was there. He was our source of information, because he was getting the whole COVID stuff before New York was getting it. New York, they're still out and about doing stuff. And he was telling us, okay, it's real, it's real, it's coming, and all that kind of stuff. And then New York happened, and then I work in a suburban hospital, right between Joliet and Chicago. So during that time, we didn't get hit as badly. We had some COVID patients, but it wasn't that bad. We still had to close down the hospital, because it was taking up patient beds and everything like that. But yeah, it was, we would, some of us would roll the dice. Okay, who's gonna go take care of the next COVID patient? I do have to give it up for the ICU nurses, because they did an awesome job taking care of the COVID patients, and just kind of managed it, because they were there wearing the N95s every day, all day, for the whole shift. And for us, we might go up there for about 20 minutes to go intubate a patient, and we run right back, and then it's so funny. So now if you kind of fast forward now, so now we're getting a little bit more COVID patients, but it's not as bad as far as like how severe the disease actually is. So more people are catching it. It's more infectious, but it's not as virulent, meaning that it's not as severe as the last one. Okay. People are still getting sick. People are still Getting intubated. People are still dying, but definitely not as much as it was before.
What's the
And
reason for that? Is it better knowledge of it, or
I
is it
think,
a different strain, or what?
see, I think it's a couple of, I think it's a couple of issues. So I think, and I might speculate a little bit, but we know how to treat it better. So that's
Mhm.
one thing. One of the things that the ICU does is they're not quick to intubate people. There was this thing that, when something with the ventilators was causing more death. So now we don't intubate the patients right away. We do other measures, like we might put them on this little BiPAP machine, which kind of it goes over your face as a nice seal, and it blows air into your lungs.
Mhm.
I guess it would cause less lung damage than if you put them on a ventilator. You
Mhm.
got more better drugs, better protocols,
Mhm.
um, and then just stuff like that. And then patient saturate. There's an oxygen saturation. So if you're young and healthy, you should be able to saturate
Mhm.
96 to 100%, okay, of oxygen, ideally 100%.
Mhm.
A lot of these people, they would be saturating like 90%. They'll saturate all the way below to like the low 80s, and it will still won't intubate them, because usually we see somebody in the 80s, we're ready to intubate. But
Mhm.
now I think they'll wait till they get into the 70s before they intubate it. I intubated one 2 weeks ago.
Mhm.
um, he was 450 pounds,
Mhm.
and yeah, you could tell that he was struggling, so he definitely needs to be intubated. But and then, like you said, I think it could be another strain. I mean, we don't know. There's rumors that it could be another strain.
Mhm.
You know, and because this one is acting differently. More people are having more GI symptoms.
Mhm.
Headache.
Mhm.
Um, not so much the cough, and you do have the respiratory, but some people just have strictly like GI symptoms and like fatigue and fever. So that's also a thing. And some virologists are saying that it's the viruses might be burning out. It's becoming, as the virus mutates, it gets less
Mhm.
virulent.
Okay.
So I think that's definitely what we're seeing right
Well, so what do you? I mean, just prognosis or whatever. Like what, looking
now.
ahead, more like a national or whatever. I mean, where do you think we're going? Like, just an idea. I know nobody. You can't
Yeah,
really predict and all that. How do you think?
it's hard to say.
When do we get back to normal?
It's hard to say. Well, we have the vaccines out. Okay,
Mhm.
we got 3 different vaccines. Other countries have their own vaccines, so they're waiting for the vaccines to come out.
Mm.
Okay, of course that's a little controversial. People have their ideas of about the vaccine,
Mhm.
but I think that's one thing that might help us get back on track, as
Mhm.
far as opening up the economy,
Mhm.
going out again, because a lot of people are kind of like losing their business, especially the restaurants.
Yeah.
A lot of people are doing the homeschool.
Mhm.
I'm not a big fan of the homeschool. That's just me. I don't think my kids are getting as much as they could. I think they definitely benefit more with like the
Yeah.
one-to-one in-person
Mhm.
thing, because my kids are like 6 and 7 years old. They're
Yeah.
looking on when I see them, sometimes they're
Mhm.
just playing around,
Yeah.
doodling, and everything. They need
Mhm.
a little bit more attention.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
me paying tuition, I'm feel like, am I getting my money's worth?
Mhm. Mhm.
Or should I
Yeah.
just get a homeschool, and then maybe I should just do it that way? So that's
Mhm.
that's that's always been on my mind. But
Okay.
I think honestly, by I would say probably spring to summer, it should get better. I mean, it should get better, because if you think about it, um, the more people that get it, it's gonna. If you think about it, I don't know if this is so much like a second wave. People
Mhm.
call it a second wave, but if you notice that, New York got theirs, California got theirs, Illinois got theirs, and then Florida got theirs. And then you
Mhm.
notice that all the other states are kind of following suit: Texas, North Dakota, and even though they say Illinois, we're getting our numbers up and everything like that, but it's more the rural areas now. Before it was the city. So now,
Okay.
we're getting. That's why we're seeing a lot more. Before, it was like Christ Hospital. It was like, more of the metro hospitals. Now we're seeing the suburban hospitals, and eventually it might hit the rural areas. So it's kind of going in that kind of order. And I think eventually you're going to start seeing people having antibodies, and they might. I mean, we still don't know if antibodies are going to be a long life, sustaining thing. But that's the theory. Going hurt this herd immunity. So that's kind of like what people are hoping, that we get to this herd immunity. Because the faster we get to herd immunity, then and that helps, and the vaccines would help with that. Then it kind of protects other people who have like higher, comorbidities and everything like that. So that's something to think about, But definitely, it's weird with this COVID thing, because it does affect other people. It's almost like because it's not fake. This is real. People are saying that it's not. No, it's real. The death rate is definitely not what we thought it was. It's still low, right? The death rate is really low, which is why people kind of argue, like, how can we close down? How can we close down everything because of this? But the thing is, you just don't know who it's going to pick. That's the problem.
That's it. So this concept of herd immunity, has it worked in the past? Like, I mean, is there any example of an infectious disease that we develop herd immunity to?
Yeah, there's like, I mean, if you go back in the past, they'll say, like, for example, measles. Measles, that they vaccinated the whole population with measles, to the point where you don't see these outbreaks that much because everybody has the herd immunity. Okay. But now you still see outbreaks from here and there, which kind of makes you wonder. But that's an idea of herd immunity. Sweden, they didn't close down their economy. And then they kind of touted that they reached herd immunity, but I think they just closed down because they're saying their numbers go up. So, herd immunity is just, it's pretty much, people believe this concept of herd immunity, where if a certain percentage of the population have antibodies or had the virus, then it won't spread as swiftly and as rapidly in the population.
Okay.
There is definitely something to it, though.
Okay, awesome. Thanks for sharing that with us. That's good. So let's get to it. Tell us about you. Who is Ade?
Oh man, what do you want to be a little more specific? Where should I start? Should I start from the beginning?
Yeah. Give us beginning where you were born, and just a little bit, some snippet of who you are.
So I'm supposed to be in Nigeria right now. Typically, I'm supposed to be living in Nigeria. Just doing because my parents. My mom was pregnant with me in Nigeria.
Okay. And
the plan was, my father, my mom, he was going to go to, Canada to, on this scholarship. Back then in the 70s, during the good old days in Nigeria, they were giving out scholarships to Nigerians to come to America on these, for schooling.
Yeah.
And that's how that wave of Nigerians had come. That first wave of Nigerians came to America. I don't know if it's the first wave. It could have been the second. I'm not sure. But the plan was, my mom got pregnant, and they were going to leave me in Nigeria. My mom's sister was like, "Oh, just leave him. We'll watch him. We'll take care of him. And you just go and have a good old time." My mom was like, "No, we're not going to do that. Thank God." Thank God. So what happened was, they eventually came to Canada, and then they had me. I was born. So I'm a Canadian. I still have my Canadian.
Wow. See, I'm knowing something new now.
A lot of people don't know that.
Yes, I never knew that you're a Canadian.
Yeah, so I'd have dual citizenship, between the two countries.
Triple citizenship. It's more
I know, right? I know. If you count Nigeria, right? Exactly. I'm not a spy, but yeah. So I spent the 4 years of my first 4 years of my life in Canada, You know, my mom and my dad, they were going to school and everything like that. And then my brother was born in Canada, and he only spent three months there right before we left to the Windy City, Chicago. My dad, when he finished University of Manitoba on his he got a degree in mathematics. He had to make a decision: do I go to Texas or do I go to Chicago? You know, because he got accepted to two different schools, and the only reason he came to Chicago is because of the public transportation to Chicago. You know, you can, you know, so that's why we're not in Texas right now either. So my dad went first. Me and my mom and Kunle, you know, we were still in Canada at the time. She was watching both of us at the time. She was going to meet my dad later in Chicago. My dad had to, you know, he's like Christopher Columbus. He had to see the lay of the land, what's going on before he brings his wife and kids. When he first came to Chicago, there was no such thing as you know, no organization to help immigrants, especially Nigerians. Like, where do you go? Who do you talk to? He came from, I think he was came out of the airport. I think he met some Nigerian guys. Like, I don't know where to go. Like, who do I stay? You know, I know somebody. So he got hooked up with somebody. You know, stayed over their place for a night. They were doing drugs and whatever. He was out there so quick. But eventually he got settled. He found a place near Lakeview, and we call it the State House. That was our first home in Chicago, the State House. So eventually my mom came through the Greyhound bus. Me and my brother came, and I saw my dad for the first time. I ran to him, gave him a hug, and of course he saw my brother. I think he saw my brother Kuna for the first time too. I don't think he was there for the birth. So he's seen Kuna for the first time, and like, oh, you know. So it was a very surreal moment from what I still remember. But fast forward, you know, we eventually moved to Uptown. That's like the melting pot of Chicago. You find like thousands of different nationalities, and then that's where you have my sister, Falake, Dayball, Yinka. He came like later. You know, I think it was an accident. He came like 6 years down the line.
Don't let him hear you say
that. He already knows, so he's not gonna feel any kind of way about it. But yeah, growing up was with my parents, all I can remember is just me taking care of my brothers and sisters, and I was like the one that was taking care of them. You know, when my parents go out, I would watch them in the house. I would cook for them, and my dad, he worked nights while working on his PhD. My mom, she would go to school working on her school, master's in social work. So they were doing their thing, they were grinding and everything like that. So it was I came from very humble beginnings, they had their ups and downs, financials and everything. So it wasn't as you would expect for immigrants, it was hard. And as a Black person, now me leaving school and kind of seeing what the world is really like, especially within the last 4 years, you can kind of, you can tell there's you can tell there's something that you've noticed, but immigrants see it like they see that, but they see even extra, they got this language barrier to work with, and they have to deal with the racial issues, they have to deal with tension with other African Americans. They have to deal with tension probably with other Africans too. Not everybody is fond with Nigerians,
Yeah,
what's that?
As somebody who came in as an immigrant too, you have to deal with the fact that you are. I don't know how to explain it. So I tell people, when I first came to the United States, like when I was in Nigeria, there's a way I just knew inside of me internally what Nigeria was. I knew Lagos. I could think. I had an into the way life was. When I came to the US, it took me years to be able to build that inner stuff. To first of all the compass, north side, north, east, west, all that. Then just some inner knowledge that you get naturally when you are born there that you have to develop. I had to learn it, and I'm still developing it.
Yeah, I know. My parents, they still have their accent. It has not gone away since
Mm-hmm.
I've been alive. So
It's
it's
not gonna
still
go.
there, It's just one of those things,
Too late.
So so we've dealt, we've I'm thankful to God for my parents, because without my parents I would not be here. And the only reason why
Mm-hmm.
I'm here and why I'm taking care of other people,
Yeah.
or saving lives or treating
Yeah.
other people. The reason why they're being treated is because of what they fostered,
Yes.
earlier. So
That's so encouraging.
yeah,
That's
it's
encouraging
yeah,
to
and
to
it's
us new immigrants and to people that are watching.
yeah.
Like
Yeah, so I have to give thanks to I don't think we thank our parents as much, as much. I can see that now as an adult, especially now with my two kids,
yeah.
what they have done, to kind of develop that whole thing, and then just kind of like the values and everything like that. No smoking, no
Yeah, I was going
drugs.
to ask you that you see some people brought up in this place, and
Right,
they are, I mean, messed up, quote and
right,
unquote. How was
exactly.
the journey for? How did you going to school, staying in school, becoming a doctor? I
Yeah,
mean, it brought you also in the faith and all that.
right.
I'm sure you must have gone through some challenges in that area. Can you share a little bit? How did you? What were the things that kept you focused?
So I don't want to say I was sheltered. I wasn't sheltered, but they
Hmm.
kept close eye on us. They kept close eye on like who we hung out with, who our friends were, where we went to, the places that we went to. They kind of kept that in our heads,
Hmm.
and also they always told us, smoking, drugs, don't get anybody pregnant, all these little things that they kept on letting us know. And my dad, I love my dad. I love my
Hmm.
dad to death, okay? But
Hmm.
he only cares about two things. At least at that time, he only cared about two things. One is school, and then the other is church. That's it.
Very good.
That's all he was about. When I
Very
became
good.
yeah, once
That's
I
the
became
basic.
I
That's the
mean,
basic that you
that's
need.
the foundational, right?
Yes.
But
Every
once
other
I
thing will fall in place. What happens to
exactly. But once I became 20, 25, the third thing was like, okay, your
who is the
wife.
guy?
You know what I'm saying? That was the thing, right? Because he
For
doesn't
people who
want.
are watching, you better take notes. That's how you raise up good kids. School
I
and
know.
church. Then when they're older, okay, what about the girl or what about the guy?
Because in their minds, they don't want to spend all these years molding these kids, making this perfect mold, only for some outsider to come and mess everything up.
Yeah,
This is my retirement. You got to pick the right wife.
yeah, you got to.
So so yeah, so my dad, he didn't teach me etiquette. He didn't teach me, how to treat a girl, open the door. He didn't teach me nothing about credit, how to, finance. See, these are the things that I had to kind of learn on my own, and
Yeah.
kind of pick up, and that's what and my mom, she, thank God for my mom, because she is, I like to say that my mom is more liberal, my dad is more conservative. My dad, he's like, you know what, let's save our money, don't try no risky. Than my mom, she'll go gangbusters, she'll go say, so it's a
Good
good match.
combination.
Yeah, it was a good match. It kind of like kept them, kept them more civil and sane.
Mhm.
But yeah, so if I'm talking about, like, as far as, like, my religious journey and everything, because I was brought up Christian. My family line, we're all been Christian. Okay. My dad told me that we were talking and everything like that. That, like, his father, he was the pastor of Ione back in Nigeria. You know,
Mhm.
our grandfather before that, he was a Babalawo. Okay,
Mhm.
That's my great grandfather. And he told me that in the Babalaos there's like I think you get cursed for 3 generations. I don't know if that's a rule or what, but because my grandfather switched to Christianity and started a church with Ione, it kind of broke that curse. You know what I'm saying? We're all free and everything like that. And we all when my dad came here, he found Celestial Church. It just felt so familiar to him, and we have Celestial Church on every street corner in Nigeria and everything like that. He's immediately drawn to that. I mean, we've been in that church for years. I'm talking about like 20 odd years, and it was good for what it was, back in the day. And I still have friends in that church and everything like that.
Yeah.
It's different. It's not for.
I used to be a critic of Celestial Church, but one of the things that, of course, I still criticize. I still not criticize. I don't usually criticize anything.
Right.
That's not my life. My job is not to criticize anything.
Right.
But there are certain things that I didn't agree with. But one of the things that began to open me up to, like, when I came to Chicago, I met some of you guys. I met you, I met Boye, I met Emily.
Yeah.
I just met some people. I was like, these people, they're coming from the Celestial Church. And I saw that there was a foundation that you guys were given, that was at least helpful.
Right.
So I was like, you know what? And then I spoke at the KNS, to the youth and all that. I met some youth there too. I'm like, you know what? This is better than nothing. This is awesome. Yeah. So
yeah, I have so many great memories from that church, and we had the fellowship with Ione. I have so many great memories with them. It just kind of like just shaped my childhood at that time. Yeah. And people had their, is it a cult? Is it, what? It's not what that is. And we, there's so many great minds that came out of this church. There's so many successful people that have come out of this church. And I didn't really totally understand Celestial Church because nobody never really sat down and explained it to me. And it wasn't until, I was I went to University of Michigan. I did my African American studies, and they talked about the whole the diaspora, and then how voodoo is common in Africa, ancestral worship and everything like that. That was before the missionaries came and everything like that. But there's such and this is something that people don't really talk about. Spiritual war, the voodoo, spiritual warfare, and everything. People don't talk about that, but it's a real thing.
Yep.
My parents told me about it and everything like that.
It is.
And then and so when I was in Michigan, we went to the African American Museum, and I saw this book. On the book, it said voodoo. It was a voodoo. I looked into the in there, and it had Celestial Church in there. I'm like, why Celestial Church in this book? I did not read the article. I just jumped to conclusion. You know how people just read headlines now? You don't know, they don't know what they're reading. I bought the book. I showed it to my pastor, and he's like, no. But this was explaining that when voodoo was growing in Nigeria, the church rose up to go to fight against it. It's like kind of like, to bring more people into Christianity and fight, fight fire. I don't want to say fight fire with fire, but it's what you need for Nigeria.
Yeah, for Africa, you need the power, because in Africa, having pastored in Africa, lived in Africa, there is, for those who are watching who are not familiar, those who were raised in the West, each region of the world has its genius. So in the United States, the West generally, Europe and all that, their genius, their major thing that they've contributed is, the intellectual, industrial revolution, all that. Not that other part of the world. A lot of inventions come from other part of the world too. The East, they have this mind, they have an understanding of this mind, mental stuff, and, a balance and all these things that you see in yoga and all that. In Africa, we have a genius for spiritual stuff.
Right.
You know, it started as an animist stuff. I mean, Africans can conjure spirit out of trees, out of rivers, out of, like we just add. It's a spiritual planet.
Right.
It's a very spiritual planet that has an understanding of the supernatural aspect of nature. It is part of the body of knowledge of this mysterious world that we are all placed in. This mysterious universe has all kinds of bodies of knowledge. You have the body of knowledge of science, but that's not all. You have the the paranormals. There is in mentals, what do you call it? All kinds of body of knowledge, because God is vast. So Africa tapped into that.
Right.
But the thing is that when we tap into it, a lot of people tap into the negative part.
Exactly.
And to evil, to other people, witches, wizard, and all that. Yeah. So when you now become a believer, like the church or Christianity comes, and you are not able to present something more powerful, an alternative, then you have syncretism, you have all those kind of stuff. So people go for the power. You will see that thing in operation when you go to Africa. Like the power is in manifestation.
Right.
All that. Yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of like Star Wars, the Force.
Yeah.
You're gonna use the Force, and you're a Jedi. Are you gonna go to the dark side, or are you gonna go to the light side? It's almost similar to that. And Nigerians, one thing that they do, they're conscious of this spiritual world.
Yes.
Which people in America, there's some people that might be aware to it, but they don't know that if you're having depression, you're on Xanax. Could it be something spiritual? Could be something you moved into a house and something there was an attachment. You don't know.
Yeah.
But they'll go to the doctor and they'll go get Xanax and think that's going to solve their problem, when maybe you just need to do a little prayer.
Yeah.
That kind of thing.
You are one of my favorite doctors.
Yeah.
It's one of the reasons why I want to because I'm a doctor, but I'm a doctor of the soul. I'm a doctor, the spirit in different whatever. So I know that there are different dimensions.
Right. Exactly.
There's spirit, there's mental, there's physical.
Exactly. And the spiritual.
Ecological, environmental. I mean, there's just different dimensions. Now, for you to just think there is only one domain that the answer lies. That's when I see people who are they call themselves intellectuals. I believe I'm an intellectual. I studied in all those areas and whatever, but I believe in being balanced. I believe in looking at all the domains of life and being able to talk intelligently about it. So when I see someone like you, who is a doctor and all that, but you are able to talk in different domains of life, that's very refreshing to me, and that's why I love to call you and ask questions and all that.
Yeah. I like this. I'm very spiritual. I'm very, I really do believe that you can't just ignore that, and what you were saying, like, who is Damala? I'm still learning who Damala is. I'm learning who Damala is as a Nigerian person, as a Black person, as a human being, and then as a soul, because even with, I'm still learning about my family, my family tree. Okay. I'm still learning from Nigeria, where we came from, the Bantu expansion from Egypt and everything like that. How, like, are we from, like, because Africans used to be, they're a powerful people. Science, we invented science, the pyramids and everything like that. And I want to know more about that. There's a bigger story to this, and and also as a human being, where did everything, how everything started and everything like that, and then my soul, like what does it mean to, how can I be more connected to the Holy Spirit?
Yes.
How can I speak to God and receive more, just enlightenment, from God, and I really never really understood what that meant back in the day. Back in the day, it wasn't, and it's always been there.
Yeah,
I just couldn't. I wasn't conscious of it. I wasn't conscious of it. But now it's like, you get a tap on the shoulder, or sometimes I hear my dad calling. I'm like, what does that mean? You know? And it
Mm-hmm.
doesn't have to be your dad. It's just the father, you know. God speaks in metaphors, you know?
Yeah.
That kind of thing, you know. And, you know, I gave a testimony in church about how Bolu, my firstborn, was born.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? God sent me a revelation. I was able to intercede, and then thank God he's here and he's alive and he's healthy.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of things that, you know, just over time, you know, just you know, being conscious of those things is important.
And we have to be open-minded, you know. We have to be open-minded and just you know, learn and explore and all that. So
I'm never dismiss anything. I never judge. I try not to judge people. I always try to see where they're coming from. Because the last thing, when you start judging people and you don't see where they're coming from, you already have your blinders up, and you're not trying to learn on yourself and, you know, make yourself you know, understand.
Wow.
So
that is so powerful. Wow, this is a very interesting discussion. I'm enjoying it. Like, you know, this is so much fun. Those of you watching, please make your comments, and let's see how you guys are enjoying this wonderful discussion. Where, you know, we're not done.
We haven't even got to the health stuff yet, you know.
Health stuff yet. We're having so much fun. So we met 17 years ago.
Yes.
I still remember that day very clearly. And interesting that Pastor Olu, that is you know, is commenting on Facebook now and all that. Was one of the people that facilitated the day both of us met. And I remember afterward, he came to me, he's like, Pastor Land, can you be my mentor? I can still remember that day.
Yeah. That was a good. I was immediately drawn to you, and honestly, because I just felt that I just needed to gravitate to somebody of my, I don't want to say my age, you know, age doesn't really matter, but who can kind of see where I'm coming from, you know. I did leave Celestial Church, not necessarily because they're you know, how they do things, but they were not trying to, they didn't answer my questions like, well, why do we do this? Oh, you just do it. Oh, why do we wear this? Oh, because they give me all these little cliche answers, and I'm very inquisitive. If something doesn't make sense, I don't take anything for face value. If something doesn't make sense, I'm like, okay, well, I'm not gonna do it just because you told me to do it, you know. So eventually, I was like, you know, I kind of left, and I wanted something a little bit more, you know, modern, you know, more, you know, something that, and you were really speaking to
you, more relatable to you.
Yes, exactly. And you were it, you know, and I started following you ever since, because I mean, you were talking about marriage, you were talking about, you know, just everything that I was dealing with at the time. And that's kind of like how we, you know, and then we did Impact. I went to Impact for many years, and then then you had the church at Kennecott Park, you know, and then you built up to the office space, and then you finally bought the big building. So I've been following you ever since, you know. So it's been a long journey, and I've learned a lot. You know, your ministry has grown, and I've seen that your ministry. You know, people when they preach, you know, it, you know, people have different styles of preaching. Okay. I'm maybe it's the doctor in me. I'm more analytical. It's hard for me to get the abstract stuff. You know what I'm saying? I try to, but it's hard to get. But sometimes when you preach, it makes sense. You know what I'm saying? And it kind of hits you. Sometimes you have that aha moment. Oh, that's what that shield of whatever, you know, like that whole thing. So it just kind of makes sense, because, you know, the Bible is not easy to read. You know, I've read the whole Bible. You know, I like the the Old Testament more than the New Testament. It's more interesting. But I've read the whole Bible, and there's certain things that, you know, I'm like, what will they say? I have to read not the King James version. I have to read the what's the other one that's very easy? I forgot. But
NIV.
Yes, the NIV. Yeah, it's more easier. It's more easier to grasp and everything like that. So I go back on that, and, you know, I usually focus. But the New Testament, I definitely focus on the Gospels. You know, the Gospels. I even read the Gospel of Thomas and everything like that, which enlightened me, you know, even more, and to learn you know, what Jesus Christ, you know, what he went through, how he you know, how he's teaching us how we can, how could we can be like him, or we can, he's teaching us something,
Yeah.
So that's so I definitely, I've been following Jesus Christ even more now than before. So.
Yeah. Awesome. So what was your journey to becoming a doctor? How was that? Like, and how did
Well,
you choose that?
it's funny. So I was always an artist. Anything creative, art, and that's why I like media and everything like that. I thought I was going to become a graphics artist and draw comic books, or my plan was to have like a media empire and everything like that. My dad said, "Oh, you can't make money from drawing." I was like, "Really?" I was like, "Yeah, you should go into medicine." Oh, if you say it, that's true. You say so. So, and I went to medicine, and I didn't mind it because I did like medicine. Listen, I'm a nerd when it comes to heart. I love science. I love physics. I love space. I love weird things, and other people don't like that, but I like that stuff. So when it came to medicine, it wasn't like somebody forced me into it. I actually I wanted to do something that was going to help people, and that's why I went to medicine. And people think, people say, "Oh, you're so smart. Oh, you're a doctor." Oh, listen. I only got accepted to one medical school.
Well,
and that was on a conditional basis. I had to take a summer program.
A nerd.
Yes, I had to take a summer program. It was conditional. I had to get a B or better for me to get accepted into that. Yeah, thank God I got in. So, and I can only attribute that to God, and he's been following me. Listen, he's been following me this whole time. I retroactively I can see back. I'm like, oh, that was him, and he was doing this, and everything like that. A little brushes with death, you know what I'm saying? Oh, he must have took care of that. There's so many things that that he's done, so many close calls. Any financial issues that I had, if I didn't have money at this point in time, or if I didn't have money in college, something would pop in to cover that expense.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So medicine. So medicine was just like, yeah, I lost my train of thought. Where was I going with that? I forgot. Anyway,
I was asking you about your journey into medicine.
Yeah. So medicine. Yeah, exactly. So, and I took the MCAT a couple of times. I took the step 1 a couple of times. I think I took the board exam twice. I'm not some kind of savant. I'm not some genius. I just don't take tests well. That's just me. Sometimes I'm taking my exam in the midterms or finals. I'm taking an exam. 20 minutes in, I see people getting up. I'm like, why is that person getting up? They're leaving, I need all my time. Either he's really dumb or really smart. It's one of the two.
I was one of those people that used to get up, like I'll just finish and I'll leave everybody there.
See, now you're just bragging right now. See? No, for real. Me and my brothers. My brothers are all nurses. 2 of them are nurse anesthetists. They're intelligent. They've achieved a lot. But I can't say that they're geniuses. They went through the same thing that I did.
This is so good. What you are saying is so good and so encouraging. When we talk about genius, people usually think of genius only based on one dimension of capacity of intelligence,
right,
which is actually the IQ and all that. But people are geniuses in different areas.
Right.
Some people is their body, some people is sports, some people it's their hands,
Right.
I think it was
exactly, yeah.
People gifted hands and all that. So people are geniuses in
certain aspects of what gift that God has given them, right?
Yeah, there's emotional intelligence that people just go with with the IQ.
Yeah. You just have to improvise. You have to use what you have. You don't have to be the smartest person in the room. You just have to be the hardest working and more determined person in the room. That's all it is, And
I'm sure you can see that there are some people that were smarter. They will call them smart mentally. They are not even where you are in life right now.
Listen.
Yeah.
Pastor Land, listen. I realized that when I got into the wards, okay? So once the didactic stuff was done.
Yeah.
Then we move into the hospital. All that book stuff did not help these people. All these people that got 100%, they couldn't even put an IV. They're scared of blood. Oh, they passing out. Oh, you know, these people that couldn't hang. Oh, they eventually went to PhD. Let me just work on research. Yeah, that's where they belong. Research, be in the lab. You know, and let us that can barely pass the exam. We'll deal with the hard stuff. You know what I'm saying? Because and that's what separates the book people from the you don't have to be book smart. Sometimes when you get in there, it's all about like anesthesia is not an easy thing, and a lot of people don't know what I do. My dad thought I just give medication and go to the next room and give medication. That's what I don't think my wife knows what I do. I don't think my kids definitely don't know what I do yet. So a lot of people think that some people think I just sit down and just watch the patient. People don't know then, when somebody's heart stops, I'm running down the hall and trying to put a breathing tube before they stop breathing, 2 days ago, somebody's heart stopped. They were doing chest compressions and we revived the patient, luckily. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Sometimes when you can't put a breathing tube in and you see the saturation, remember the saturation I was talking about? Starts from 100%. That thing starts dropping, and meaning no oxygen is getting to the brain or the lungs or anywhere in your body, and saturation keeps on going down, and you have to put a breathing tube right in time before it hits zero. Then the heart's gonna stop. It's nerve-wracking, And some people and when I started residency, some people couldn't take it. They were having anxiety. They were, some people had to leave the residency and choose something a little bit more milder, like family practice. So you have to have you have to have a certain demeanor to do it. And just because you're book smart doesn't necessarily mean that you'll be able to hack it, and that's the thing. So trust me. I'm not medicated. I'm not taking any drugs, and we could talk about that later. What I do to manage stress, but yeah, a lot of people are medicated. I'm realizing right now, all those people that were getting up were on Alderol, Ritalin. Well, I just realized I was drinking Mountain Dews all day to stay awake. I'm like, I could have done that too.
I wasn't on anything, and I'm not on anything.
Yeah, so I'm competing against all these medicated people, and so I don't feel that bad. I do not feel that bad. And trust me, I had an issue with you. You know this. I have an issue with staying awake. Yeah, I can have 8 hours of sleep, walk into the lecture hall. They turn off the lights and put on the overhead, and I'll still fall asleep. So I had to do something. I literally had to do something because I was not learning. So I literally stopped going to class. And I would just go to the library, not go to class. I've got Cliff Notes and just study independently. And that's what got me through. So you have to see what works,
Yeah, you have to see what works. Yeah. Oh, so this is I'm telling you, this is one of the richest conversations that I've had on Life 360. I'm telling you, and the people that have been watching it they can attest to that, that I'm watching us right now. This is so, we're so real, we're flowing, we're talking, it's so good. And I'm
loving too.
Just bringing it out and all that. So I want you to talk about how did you become a different kind of a doctor? Like, so I want us to move into so there is doctor, write a prescription, medicine, and all that. But you have a unique approach. I think you are more health focused than care focused, more like health care, not disease care. And then you also believe in a lot in natural stuff, spiritual stuff, and all that, which. Well, that's why I love talking to you, and I tell people, please call Damola. If you haven't, just call him. That. Tell us your journey in that area. Why? How did you become? I mean, that kind of philosophy, and just in that dimension. Yeah.
There's a couple of times in your life where you can kind of pinpoint when you actually woke up. Okay, and this is one of those times when I just kind of woke up when I first, because prior to me going to, starting rotations in the hospital, I didn't know anything about the hospital. I mean, maybe, you know, I never really been to a hospital before. I don't know how it functions. I don't know what the, you know, what the process is. So I'm all learning this for the first time. And so going to the hospital, I'm like, okay, so, you know, how are orders made? I literally, when people said orders, I literally thought, if I put an order in, are they charging me something? That's literally how naive I was, you know? No, an order is, you put an order, it's free, and the nurse takes the order and she does what she needs to do. So this is how naive I was when I was starting in the hospital. But one thing that I did realize was I thought I was going into this thing, I was going to help people get better and everything like that. But when I was there, I'm walking around, I'm seeing all these sick patients. To me, it was almost like you're walking into like some kind of institution. You know, back in the institution, the TB wards, just people just languishing. And, you know, I would see people with congestive heart failure come in, you know, like you know, Mr. Smith comes in, right? He has, you know, congestive heart failure. He's an exacerbation. They give him some Lasix, they tune him up, and they send him on his way. Oh, a week later, you know, he comes back, tune him up, send him on his way. You know, and this happens over and over again until he dies. I'm like, so what did we do? So all we did was just patch him up like a car, make him functional so he can go to work. You know what I'm saying? And then he eventually dies. We never really fixed the problem.
Yeah,
we never really got to the root of the issue. That's what I'm seeing.
Maintaining him,
just maintaining, just making them, you know, patching them up, you know, just like they do, you know, when the boxers, when they're boxing and everything like that, they're bleeding and everything like that. You know, they need medical attention, but you still need to fight. So let's just put a little Vaseline, put on the eye. Okay, go do what you need to do. You know what I'm saying? It's the same thing. And I'm realizing, you know, some of these hospitals, their model, you think they're helping people. Don't get me wrong. You need hospitals. Hospitals are important, especially for acute care, trauma, emergency, everything like that. You know what I'm saying? But they don't really focus on preventative care. You know, there are times when they do. I mean, you have vaccines, you have, you know, mammograms, colon screenings, you have, you know, pap smears. You know, there is that. But their whole model is not based on preventative care, because if you really focused on preventative care and less people were getting sick and coming to the hospital, do you think that, you know, what's going to do to their bottom line? It affects the money. And hospitals,
motive too. You admit
right,
there is a profit motive in hospital.
There is a problem, and you can't ignore that, because hospitals do need to make money. They do need to make money to survive. You know what I'm saying? But so now you have this thing. You have to manage. I always see this every day. They're balancing patient safety with profitability. How fast can we get these cases done, make more money in a short amount of time, but not you know, not sacrifice patient safety when we're trying to hurry up, you know?
Hold on. Let's answer this question. You're going to continue. So,
okay.
This is Vivian. Dr. Ade just caught you guys talking. And my daughter is 15 and falls asleep in class. Can you suggest something for her to do that will keep her awake?
Coffee.
She's too young for coffee. 15.
I really don't agree to the being on medication for that. If she can do without medication, that'll be great. But there's so many other things to stay awake, and sometimes it's just a fact about getting more sleep. Sometimes what I've noticed, what keeps me, if you have a breakfast in the morning, you're gonna be sleepy during the rest of the day. Sometimes you just have to skip breakfast. You know, sometimes you have to skip breakfast just to stay awake, because once you eat a big load of food, all the blood just drains from your brain and goes to your stomach, and then you're just like really out of it. You know, even for me, I live 40 minutes away, and I noticed that when I eat lunch, I eat a big lunch, and they're telling me, "Oh, Dr. Ade, you can go." I'm like, "Oh, really?" Okay, and I go on the road, and now the food coma is starting to hit me, and I'm dozing off. So I even try not to eat too much, you know, even right before I'm about to, you know, hit the road. So sometimes there's certain things you can do. That green tea, ginseng.
Mm-hmm.
I would stray away from all the kind of like the 5 Iron Energies and the Red Bulls and stuff like that. But there's a lot of herbal things that you can. So ginseng, I used to take ginseng back in the day, Korean ginseng. I used to take go to whatchamacallit, go to cola. I used to take moringa back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you just need like fresh fruits,
Mm-hmm.
just to kind of keep you up. And there's a lot of other things. So kind of circle back to me, and I can tell you, what I did back in
Okay.
the day.
I will, I will, at the end of it, to Vivian, at the end of that, I'll put how you can reach out to Dr. Ade.
Right.
We're going to talk about that if you want to, talk to him personally. So, yeah, so
Yeah.
continue what you were saying.
So I watched an CNBC special. They're saying that that hospitals are dying all over the nation, and this has been going on since the 1990s. That hospitals are closing down, and you can see it in Chicago. Mercy Hospital closed down. Michael
Mm-hmm.
Reese Hospitals closed down. And then what Metro South closed down, and I know this because I'm seeing all the nurses are coming over here, and so there's definitely hospitals closing down because they're not making enough money.
Mm-hmm.
And so the whole like having a community hospital by itself is
Mm-hmm.
not working anymore. You know what I'm saying? No problem, Vivian. So
Mm-hmm.
basically now what they're doing is they're becoming conglomerates, right? So
Mm-hmm.
now hospitals are joining together in systems, right? So once you become this big system, then you can kind of control like market rates, then you can able to negotiate with the insurance, how much you can negotiate up prices and everything like that. So
Mm-hmm.
that's pretty much what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
So they have to make money, but at the same time, their business model is pretty. I mean, it's not ethical. I mean, you go to the cafeteria, you see all this fried food, right? You see all
Mm-hmm.
these trans fats, right? So you go eat in their cafeteria, right?
Even in the hospital.
Yeah, in hospital. Then you
Yeah.
go up to surgery to go get your AV fistula for dialysis. You go back. That's the revolving door. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? That's the business model, right? But these people are not getting. So these people are not getting healthy. They're not curing you. They're not fixing you. Let's just get that straight. In some situations, they might, but for the most part, they're not getting to the crux of the problem. So now, rewind back in year 2000, I walked into a GNC, right? I ran into a lady, and she told me, she was like, I don't know how we got into the conversation, but she told me to look up Royal Rife, right? I'm like, Royal Rife, okay, okay. So I looked them up, and apparently back into the 1930s, this way ahead of his time. A doctor, he constructed this microscope that you can see live bacteria, live virus under the microscope.
Mm-hmm.
Right? He would send little electrical frequencies, and he noticed that when you hit the right frequency, the viruses would shatter, and the bacteria would just like pop.
Yeah.
And what that meant was he was literally basically curing people without antibiotics with these certain frequencies. You might have a virus that breaks at like 1,000 megahertz or whatever it is. And it turned out he was also curing cancer at that time. Okay, at that time. And that was just bad for business at the time. And you'll hear this about all these savants back in the day, that they make a discovery and they literally get pushed out. His microscope got confiscated and everything like that. And so now fast forward, that just kind of led me down to all this stuff. There's other ways to treat people. You know what I'm saying? Now, I'm trained to be a medical doctor. Okay. Meaning that it's a doctor of medicine. Like I have to give medicine for you to feel better. You know what I'm saying? I can't do anything else. That would defeat, you know what I'm saying? But there's so many other things. There's energy medicine. There's nutritional medicine. There's so many things that you can do. There's the chiropractic, you know what I'm saying, that people don't look at. And homeopathy, but people kind of just poo-poo all these things like, it's hogwash, it doesn't matter. but you'll be surprised that you don't want to you want to take care while you're healthy. You want to take care of yourself now,
Yeah.
and not wait till you get into the hospital. You know what I'm saying? Because what the hospital is good for is that last ditch effort. Okay, which is what you don't want to be. You want to start taking care of yourself now, doing cleanses, detoxification. You want to be able to take the right nutrition, because I can tell you right now, not everybody's getting the nutrition. They're taking their little Centrum vitamin, thinking that that's doing something when you would need way more than that. And a lot of problems that people are having is they're low in certain minerals and supplements. You end up with a problem, and you don't know where it's coming from. You go to the doctor and they give you a drug, and it's a Band-Aid. Remember the boxing, just a Band-Aid. You're not fixing the problem. They're just making you feel better.
Yeah.
And that's and that's what I noticed. You know what I'm saying? So I think people need the hospital. You need the hospital, but you have to you can't depend on the doctor to control your health. You need to be a little bit more proactive. You have to be out there taking care of your health, taking the right taking care of your nutrition and everything like that, exercising. Because you don't want to end up having a doctor to tell you exactly what to do. So take more control of your health. What I'm noticing too, because I worked in two different hospitals. I worked in a hospital, Trinity Hospital in the city, and I'm working at Silver Cross in the suburbs. And I've seen the different patient demographics, and I see two different things. You know what I'm saying? Over there at Trinity, which is a predominantly Black population, African American, Hispanic, and everything like that. I see a lot of diabetes, high blood pressure, cardiovascular issues, vascular kidney problems. That's what I'm seeing. Over here. I'm seeing high blood pressure. I'm seeing a lot of hypothyroidism, high cholesterol, and I'm seeing a lot of autoimmune diseases. You know what I'm saying? Total stark difference.
Why the difference?
So I'm racking my brain. I'm like, so what's the difference? I'm racking my brain. I'm asking people. I'm like, what's the deal? How come everybody has hypothyroidism? What is that? Why does people have a high problem with thyroid? And what I've noticed, like I talked to a nurse and she knows the same thing. She said she read a paper that people that live near soy fields, because there's a lot of farmland out here, right? Wow. People that live near soy fields have a higher evidence of thyroid issues, right? Wow. Soy, and people eat this all the time. These soy, I stay away from soy like the plague. My kids don't take it. I don't take it. But soy it's a estrogen mimicker. It's a hormone disruptor. So it throws your hormones out of whack. Okay. So so now it's messing up with your thyroid. Some people might have like ovarian cysts. It's affecting that. A lot of Black women have a lot of, like fibroid by your late 20s. You're like, you feel this bump, it's a fibroid, and you wonder where it's coming from. And you have some outside hormone like soy that's feeding it and making it get bigger and bigger and bigger, And then some guys are feminized a little bit. So there's you can tell there's if you live near farmland, you have to deal with the pesticides, you have to deal with like the soy and all that kind of stuff. In the city, Black people, I think what the problem is they are being, a lot of things that they have are very preventable. Like Black people are whatever. It's like a lot of things that are happening to them is they're doing it to themselves. A lot of it is preventable. I mean, Black people can be like the most healthy people. Like a lot of the stuff is just the access to good food, access to organic food, but they get what's in front of them, and that's why when you eat like trans fats, when you're eating all these it starts affecting. It start affecting your cells. Your cells need fats, like real good fat, like butter, like real butter. Like coconut oil or something that's basically going to make your cells, permeable, right, to glucose. But you're eating something like, trans fats from Oreos or trans fats from like, from other stuff. It's like plastic. It's like you're plastifying. You're putting plastic around yourself, so now glucose can get in, and now what? Now you got diabetes. You know what I'm saying? High blood pressure also comes with that. We have high blood, but we can easily fix all of this. You just have to. It's literally most of the stuff is just it's food. It's something called epigenetics. You know what epigenetics is?
Yes.
Epigenetics is that your genes are not they're not the finality of you. Okay, they can be changed by outside sources. So, for example,
based on lifestyle, they can be
exactly
manipulated. They can
exactly. If you take trans fatty acids, or if you take something like bisphenol or some kind of chemical, it's going to turn off all the good genes and turn on all the bad genes. You're going to start seeing problems immediately. This is proven. This is like you'll see it in research.
I've studied it.
You studied it? Thank you. Like if you take vitamin D, it's amazing how many good genes that vitamin D flips on. Like things just light up, and all the bad genes.
My doctor told me to take 1,000 milligram, 50 milligram, right?
Units.
Yeah, units. Yeah, of vitamin D. So I came to you. I talked to you, and you said, Pastor Lan, take 5 because
start at 5.
Most doctors, that are not of African descent, they don't understand because I have a white doctor. So the last time I met him, I told him, I said, I have another advisor and all that. Of course, I said it's a medical doctor. Like he told me to take 5. So yeah, fine. That's okay, but he told me 1 before, so he adjusted it. Yeah.
Well, but the information is power. You know what I'm saying? You have to inform yourself because doctors don't have time to look at your individual case. Everything is cookie cutter. So that's why you have to go out and research for yourself too. Because the Black people right now, it's really at a disadvantage because one, the only way they get vitamin D is from their diet and from the sun. Well, in Chicago, that's it's hard to get vitamin D, especially to be out there most people are inside.
Inside our car, we've been on lockdown.
You're not getting it. You're not getting it.
Africa.
And I can guarantee you, if you ask any person that hasn't already taken vitamin D, they're either going to be in the teens as far as the vitamin D level or in the single digits.
Yeah.
And when you're in the teens and the single digits, you're literally just waiting for something bad to happen.
Yeah.
It's almost like I can equate it to smoking all the time. You know what I'm saying? You're waiting for lung cancer.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And with this epidemic, it's not surprising with the epidemic how it's affecting Black people, because they're not getting good nutrition, and they're probably not taking their enough vitamin D supplements because the recommended daily allowance is 4,000. They just upped it from 1,000 to 4,000, and that's not even enough.
Yeah.
And I can tell you it's not enough because even for me, if I take 10,000 units, my level is not even above 50. The level you want your level to be between 50 and 70. Ideally, if you want to get all the good effects.
Yeah.
Right? I take 10,000 units, my level's only up to 30.
Wow.
My dad will take 5,000 units and his level is like 60. So people
I actually have it right here that I've been thinking that 6, it's the way they do is 6,000 units and all that. But my level has improved, but it's still not up to 50 yet.
See, that's what I'm saying. That's why you have to start at a certain level, right? You start at 5,000, right? Go check your blood. You don't have to wait for your doctor to check your blood, okay? Just like you don't have to wait for a pastor to talk to God. You can go to an online thing, you can order your blood test, you can order your blood test. It's not expensive. It's probably under $50. And the vitamin D level is like $50. They'll email you like in the 2 days what your level is. If you're low, then you have to take more. You have to up it. I tell people, at least I just try to give them a get start at 10,000. You can't go wrong with 10,000. Just start at 10,000.
Okay.
I take 20,000 every single day. People
Wow.
look at me like I'm crazy. Like, that's, oh my God, you're gonna die. My level is 70 right now.
Wow.
My level is 70 right now. And the thing is, what have they been doing to everybody? Not just Black people, but what have they been doing to everybody since March? Everybody has been in the house.
In the house, yeah. So it's the levels are low for vitamin D. Yeah.
Unless you have like a house with a porch and everything like that, you're not getting your vitamin D.
Yeah.
You know, let's not even talk about all the other stuff. Like, you're not breathing the fresh air, and you're not putting your feet on the grounding yourself on the grass. You're not that's a whole nother issue. I can go into later, not during this conversation.
We have to bring you back in season 3. You know, there's still a lot to talk about in this this discussion. So season 3, you have to come back and continue. But I want you to quickly summarize.
Okay.
Healthy lifestyle. What are some, how do I say it? You know, some basic stuff that everybody needs to do. You know, in terms of nutrition, in terms just some things that you know. And even some people that maybe they've gotten some bad reports, and I know you're not telling people to go to their doctors, but you've gotten a bad report. How do you support that?
Okay.
Talk about that. Yeah.
The one thing that I would tell people to do is take vitamin D. That's like, if I had to give up all my supplements, vitamin D, especially for Black people, is the number one thing that I would
look
take.
at what David is saying here too. David is going into health. He takes 7 to 12K.
Yeah.
You know, I actually have to up my own. I have to double my own because I've been taking 6K every day, you know.
If you're not above 50, up your dose. Don't listen, you know, up your dose. Yeah, definitely. So and also exercise is key. Okay. I think just the basic, I mean, if anybody cannot do anything, some people have, you know, chronic pain and everything like that, but just something simple as walking does wonders. You know, just walking from point A to point B. But you have to get up. You have to get up every day. And, you know, since the pandemic, what have people been doing? They've been sitting down. They've been watching Netflix. I'm guilty of that too. But I always try to, you know, I try to move. One thing that you need movement. You know, use it or lose it. You have to move. Okay. And I'm not just saying that just like as cliche. There's something about movement that increases your vitality. Like, your muscles are piezoelectric, you know. They're like kind of like crystals. When you squeeze crystals, it releases electrons, and electrons is like energy. So when you move, you're literally moving electrons around your body. You're creating energy aside from your heart pumping. So it's really important that you get up and you move and you do something. So that's another thing. And you need to take a well-rounded vitamin supplement. Okay, that covers all the bases. You know, Centrum is not going to do it. Okay, I take a whole bunch of.
It's not going to do it.
Yeah, Centrum is not going to do it. You know, I take a lot of supplements, but that's because of me. You know, I take a lot of supplements for many different reasons. Some for radiation, because I work in the hospital. Some for so many different reasons. But in the basic fundamental, you need to take something that's gonna basically cover all your minerals and all your vitamins, so you don't end up deficient. Because if you go 5-10 years and you've been deficient this over time, is going to end up being the problem. So find a supplement that at least covers all your bases. And I also tell that to pregnant women who are developing kids. You know, I hate to say it, but those prenatal vitamins, while they're good for the most part, there's certain things that are missing. They don't have enough vitamin D. If we're talking about vitamin D right now for one person, there's not enough vitamin D in there for 2 people. Same thing with B12. They make this whole big deal about folate.
Yeah.
You know, B12 is just as important. There's only 6 mics of B12 in there. So this is something that you have to think about. And drink lots and lots of pure water.
Yeah.
When I say pure, not from the tap. I'm talking about filtered water. I mean, ideally, something like a reverse osmosis is the best thing. But, you know, if you had to go bottled water, you know, I use Nestle water. They're highly rated. So that's pretty much on what you drink. And, you know, and then meditate. You know, you have to have a sound mind. I'm having so many people come here, so many people, alcoholics. People have so many people who have just, you know, they have cirrhosis. A lot of alcoholics. It has peaked since this whole thing has started. So I know people are having problems, suicidal attempts. So those are the main things right now that I can say that, you know, you wanna get into.
Wow. So powerful. And, you know, I can testify. I can, you know, I can go right now and bring my vitamin. My vitamin. The interesting thing, David gave me where to put everything. When I'm traveling, when I'm moving. Different compartments. My wife looks at my vitamin stuff at home. She's buying her own now.
Right.
Like, take this one, take that one.
My wife did the same thing. She thought I was crazy. She thought I was some kind of addict.
Yes.
And you see her with her little bag, you know. So she do the same thing.
The way I see it right now, so anytime I want to take it, I just think of myself taking peanuts. Like I take peanut, I throw things in my mouth, right?
Yeah.
These things, they're just food supplement. It's not, you know. It's just food supplements. So,
there's, you know, it's very hard to overdose on food supplements. There's certain things that you want to watch out for, like selenium and zinc. But for the most part, at the end of the day, you can't overdose. It's hard to overdose on vitamin D. It's hard to overdose on vitamin C. So all these things are nutritious. There's more good than bad.
Yeah, there was something you said, because we've been talking about vitamin D. There's something you said about having K, combining K with it.
Yes.
Because
I didn't think because we had more time to cover it. But since vitamin D is going to increase the amount of calcium, okay, in your gut, so I usually don't tell people to take calcium because you're getting enough in your diet. But the thing about it is calcium does, you know, it gets in, you know, calcium will build up in your joints, in your kidneys, in your blood vessels. So I always tell people to take vitamin K with vitamin K2 specifically, vitamin K2 with the vitamin D. That's important, okay?
And I tell them combine it, like, you know.
Yeah, they have formulations where it's already in there. Yes, and I have ones for my kids. I give my kids vitamin D and vitamin K2 every day, and I put a couple of drops in their juice. They drink it, and, you know, they're good to go. They're ready for COVID, you know. So but the rule of thumb is you want to take 100 mics of vitamin K2 for every 10,000 mics of vitamin D. So if you're taking 20,000 like me of vitamin D, then you should take 200 mics of vitamin K2.
Yeah. So. Very good. So, you know, before we move on, I will have two more questions for you after this particular one. You introduced me to life extension and all that, which has been very helpful, learning from them and all the stuff and all that. But do you have a business or an you know, around this?
Yeah, you know, I started kind of like a website years ago, but sometimes it's hard to maintain. But it's more of like an informational website, you know, and I do like clips on. I have different clips on there where it kind of walks you through how to start detoxing. You know, detoxing is very important. That's another thing I forgot to tell you. Yeah. Detoxification, like you take a shower every day, you should clean your insides every day too. Colon cleanse, heavy metal cleanse, liver cleanse.
How do you do that?
There's different ways to do it. There's different protocols. There's supplements that you can take to do a heavy metal cleanse. You know, there's supplements you can do to do a colon cleanse. You know, there's different. So I explain all of that stuff on the website.
What's the link to the website?
Link to the website is myvitasin.
Oh, okay, that's the one that they put there.
That's what he popped up. Okay. And so pretty much, you know, I've been really trying to put more information on that website as far as because I feel like information is power. We can empower ourselves. We don't have to feel, you know, like we need. I mean, doctors are important, but you have to take control. You know. Yeah. I'm seeing really sick patients every day, and I look at that. That's my motivation. I'm like, I do not want to be like that, and it motivates me. Like, I gotta detox. I gotta, you know. So all the information is there, and I'm adding more. I have one on detoxification. I have one on cardiovascular health. Kind of like I call it the cardiovascular cleanse on how to clear plaque. You know, to slowly, you know, avoid plaque or blood clots and everything like that. Also the importance of water and the important type of water, hydration, oxygenation, and also things that you can do for cancer, all those kind of things. And I'm still going to put up some stuff about what pregnant women should do prior to becoming pregnant, while they're pregnant, and what they should do after they're pregnant to have, like, you know, a super baby, a smart, intelligent baby, a healthy baby that you won't have to take to the ER, won't have any ear infections, that you give them an edge, you know, ahead of all the other, you know, kids out there, you know. So that's what, you know, that's what I'm trying to
Have you done some research on fibroid and all that?
Yes, I have, and I've been telling, and I've been doing a lot of research on Black health and everything like that, and that's one of the things that I've been looking at, and that's one of that. So I've told people with fibroids or little fibroids, before they get big, take apple cider vinegar, take nattokinase, which is something that dissolves the fibroid, and also there's one last thing, take blackstrap molasses. Okay. And those three things kind of help to shrink the fibroid, because you don't want to, first of all, you don't want the fibroid to take up space for a growing fetus. That's one. Okay. And you don't want to end up with a hysterectomy because of a fibroid later on in life, right? I'm seeing 30-year-olds coming in for a hysterectomy, which I think is unnecessary. It's big business. Hysterectomies are big business, but if you don't have to have one, why have one, you know? And I do feel that our bodies, our organs, do have a function even after menopause. How do you know that your uterus does not have a function after menopause? You know, are we really smart enough to really know? Our doctor really smart enough to really know if that thing is actually, maybe it has a purpose? You don't know that. You know, just like our appendix has a purpose, but they take it out. You know, our gallbladder is important, but they take it out. And our tonsils are important, but they take that out too. You know, so it's really important, but, you know, it's something to think about.
Wow, awesome. So big picture. How do you see, like, with this knowledge and this passion that you have? And I'm actually seeing a combination of how your media passion and creative passion can link up with this, because you can use that to provide this information in a very creative way. Your channel, I'm telling you, you set up a YouTube channel that discusses this, the way you're talking about, in a creative way. People will flock it.
Right.
With books and other ones, just to help people and all that. So that's the direction. But tell me, who you see 10 years, who is, 20 years, the impact you want to have, through the gift of God in your life, in the world.
Well, I feel right now that the world is in turmoil, and I can see it in many different aspects, and I know I can't help in every single aspect, but one thing I can help is in the healthcare part. There's so many people suffering, cancer is rampant, and I feel like if we can empower people to take care of their own health, that's one way that we can infuse health into the community, and help empower themselves. And also, healthcare, we spend so much in healthcare in America, but yet, we're not the healthiest. We're like number 30 on the list of countries, and healthcare costs keep on rising and rising and rising, and it's unsustainable. And this is not going to keep on going. I mean, we've had Obamacare, and we don't know what's going to happen with that coming up. But something has to change, and it's almost inevitable that somebody is going to disrupt this whole industry. I think the healthcare industry is ripe for disruption. Maybe Tesla can come do something. I don't know, but it's literally on its way. And I think that you're gonna see other disciplines coming in. You're gonna start seeing homeopathy. You're gonna start seeing energy medicine is starting to play a role. And that's going to be huge in the next 20 years. You're going to start seeing health coaches come out. That's starting to be coming in. So some people are going to have their own health coaches and guiding them, because, you have your doctor, but then the health coach can really dive in and look at your labs and figure out, okay, what's your next step? What can you do when your doctor is not available? What can you do on your own? And that's why, and like life life extension. You know,
Mhm.
you can get your labs on life extension. There's a lot of good articles on life extension. You can get all your
They
supplements
even
from
send
life
me their
extension.
magazines. They send me their magazine
Yeah.
free.
Yeah, free of charge. Good information on there. So don't sleep on that.
Mhm.
And so I'm telling you, things are gonna really change for the better. People are becoming more conscious about what they're putting in their mouths. I mean, gluten sensitivity was like something that was like only a couple of people had. What the hell is gluten sensitivity? Now it's all over the shelves, you know. People are wanting to start growing things now, you know. People are getting to urban gardening now.
Urban
You
farming.
know, why depend on Whole Foods? You saw what happened during the riots.
Yeah.
Two days,
Mhm.
2 days of not being able to go to McDonald's or being able to. So what do you do? What do you do in that situation? You know, I mean, Nigerians and Indians, we have, where you have deep freezers.
Mhm.
So we have food for at least a couple of months.
Yep.
Some other people go, they, go day by day. Oh, we're gonna have for dinner today, and they get what ingredients they need for that day.
Mhm.
But you want good wholesome food.
Mhm.
So it's gonna be I think that's gonna be the next wave, and you're gonna start seeing people kind of stray away from the hospital setting. It's gonna be more outpatient stuff,
Mhm.
and it's going to be more other disciplines, homeopathy, and naturopathy, and that kind of thing coming in.
Okay. Wow. 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 You didn't say anything about probiotics.
Yes,
Mhm.
probiotics. So probiotics is important, and you've seen people sell probiotics a lot. And it's hard for me to even recommend a probiotic, because one thing about probiotics is they're live bacteria,
Yep.
and then live bacteria should be in the refrigerator. You want to keep it in the refrigerator. So
Mhm.
sometimes when you order it on Amazon, you see it sitting on the shelf. I'm like, are these things even alive? You
Mhm.
know?
Mhm.
So that's one question. Another question is a lot of doctors have been saying, well, it's not necessarily the probiotics. You want prebiotic too.
Mhm.
Prebiotic is for the food for the probiotic. So
Mhm.
when you take the right prebiotic, you're selecting for the right probiotics, or the right bacteria in your gut to thrive and make you feel well. So this is what I'm gonna say. I drink a lot of kombucha. Okay, I drink a lot of kombucha. There's miso. These are all fermented foods. Sauerkraut has fermented food. Fermented foods already have live bacteria in there.
Mhm.
You can take probiotics. I'm not saying don't take it, but I'm
Yeah.
saying supplement it with other fermented foods. I think we even have fermented foods in our culture. Like echo, I think that's fermented. I think there's other
Yeah.
fermented
Okay.
things,
Okay. And all that.
OT and all
Mhm.
that stuff. So I always tell people to try to eat fermented food when they can. Kombucha, miso, all that kind of stuff you can take. And also one thing, because gut health is really important, and it's really important for growing babies, is important for adults. And one thing that I want people to look up is this product called Restore. It's called
Mhm.
Restor, and it's a
Mhm.
product that's been introduced by Zach Bush. Look
Mhm.
it up. That thing has done wonder. Everybody that I recommend that to, it's been like top notch. I mean, it kind of regulates your digestive system, your digestive system, and it also regulates the probiotics, or the gut flora.
Yeah.
Okay, because
Mhm.
listen, a lot of people are having terrible gut health. Trust me, I know. Okay,
Mhm.
I work in the hospital, and sometimes when I use the bathroom, I'm like, oh my god, I gotta go the other way. You know what I'm saying? People are having terrible gut health, but
Mhm.
but the people that have used it have seen that, like, they have normal bowel movements.
Mhm.
And if you're not having normal bowel movements, something's wrong. You're not absorbing nutrients sufficiently,
Mhm.
and you might have some autoimmune thing going on.
Mhm.
So anyway, look into that, especially people who have gluten sensitivity.
Wow, thank you so much. If anybody has any question, post it quickly right now. We're rounding up. So thank you for all this information. So let's get to life again. Final question.
Mm-hmm.
So looking at your life, what you've learned, what you've seen, and all that, boil it down to 5 principles that you will say are like top for you on how you deal with life.
So, well, I mean, first thing is prayer and faith. You know, I try to, try as much as possible to have this relationship with God. Pray every day, meditate every day. And I'm also thinking about my friends and family when I do this. I pray on my way to work every day. I pray for my patients every day. They don't see me pray, but I'm doing it. And I think that that plays an impact into my work and everything that I do at work. And also in life with my family and everything like that. Also gratitude. I'm thankful for everything that I have. I'm thankful that for my career, thankful for my family. I'm thankful for my kids. I'm thankful for that God is even talking to me and letting me know, guiding me in the right direction. He did, no, he doesn't talk to me, but I just see things in your environment that point you in the right direction. It's weird. I've had weird things happen, but they've always been solid. It's always been solid. So I'm always great. I'm always grateful for my family, my friends, where I'm at, because once you're grateful for what you do have, you could be in a studio apartment somewhere. You can have a broken down car, but if you're grateful for that, once you're grateful for that, it allows the next part to come in. How can the next part come in if you're not even grateful for what you have? That means you're not going to be grateful for what's going to be coming. So I'm always grateful for what I have, so I can let the next thing come in. And also love for others. I try to love everybody. As hard as that can be, I try to love everybody. I try to love my enemies. I try to love people that I don't really like that much. When I put somebody to sleep, I pretend like they're my family member, so I can give them the best care. I try to build that. And I think if more people had that around the world, you would not see all this stuff going on. You know what I'm saying? Love for people on the other side of the political aisle. Love for for a Muslim and love between a Muslim and a Christian. Love for just love somebody just for, don't judge, just love them as they are. Let God do the judging. You know what I'm saying? So that's I feel like that's really important, and I think when you can come in terms with that, it just, I don't know, makes you think differently. And also forgiveness, and I think that kind of comes along with love for others. I try to forgive people for, I think that's just part of being Christian. But if you can't forgive other people, if you can't forgive people for what they've done to you, it just affects you more than it affects them. You have to forgive people so you can move forward, so you can take that next step in your spirituality, in your spiritual journey. But I think forgiveness is a necessary thing that's non-negotiable. For some people it's going to be hard, and it's going to be a test. But obviously that's there for a reason. He wants you to take that next step, but you have to be able to forgive. And then finally, goal setting. I'm always goal setting. I'm always goal setting. I may be a doctor. Maybe some people may think I have it all, but no. Trust me. I feel I feel like sometimes I'm struggling like everybody else. And I have aspirations and goals like everybody else. I want to be able to increase my career in film and video. I want to be able to provide empower people with kind of like health freedom, within my community, and hopefully the world. I want to be able to bring people up, financially. I want to share knowledge. I want to build up my community. What's the point of having all this knowledge, right, if you don't want to share it? One thing I noticed about Nigeria, I'm just gonna be honest, I've seen this people don't like sharing. people. It's always like you're competing with that person. You know what I'm saying? And
Mhm.
if you're not where that person is at, you want to bring them. You want to bring them down. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So I've heard this from family members like, don't tell nobody you're a doctor, or don't
Mhm.
share your real estate secrets. Leave that
Yeah.
to yourself. Like, how
Mhm.
does it feel if I get up here? How am I supposed to rejoice with everybody else? You know what I'm saying? If I
Mhm.
go on a trip to Cancun, what, I'm gonna pay for everybody to come, or can I
Exactly.
uplift them so they
Yeah.
can come with me?
Yeah.
So
Somebody,
that's
they say
yeah,
it's lonely at the top.
right,
It's only
yeah,
lonely at the top because you didn't bring anybody along when you were climbing.
right. Exactly. It's only at the top, and misery loves company. That's that. I totally agree. So, I'm an open book to a point, and I'm willing to share. I'm willing to help others. You know what I'm saying? And
Mhm.
sometimes I feel and when people tell me to help them, sometimes I feel like I'm
Mhm.
more involved in trying to help them than trying to help themselves. I'm like, if you can't help yourself, then call me when you're ready, because I feel like I'm more into it than you are.
Mhm.
But I think, but goal setting is really important. I'm always goal setting. I'm always, once I achieve my goal, I'm on to the next goal. That's
Yeah.
pretty much how it is.
Wow, 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 wow. This
Mhm.
has been
Mhm.
very, very substantial. Very, very, we have spent 1 hour, 40 minutes, 41 minutes
Yeah, I
talking.
know it's getting dark
And it's
outside.
no dull moment, no dull moment. So
Yeah.
powerful. This is a broadcast that I would recommend
Mhm.
to everybody watching. Share this thing, share it with your family members, your friends, and all that. Just listen to this discussion because it just contains so many things that you can pull out from, apart from the health. But the health part is, also very, very powerful. So thank you so much
No
for
problem.
taking the time. So for people that want to reach out to you, they've been stirred up. They're like,
Mhm.
how can I need to talk to this guy? Of course, we need to put this disclaimer here. Everything
Mhm.
that we have said right now is not
Right.
advice. It's
Right.
not, how do you say it? It's not
Right. It's not. I'm not giving any health advice. I'm not giving any financial advice. This is for fun. So
yes,
take it as is. Always consult your doctor. But
yeah,
yes, you're
very good.
correct. You're
Awesome. So for
correct.
people that want to reach out to you just for some advice and all that, how can they reach you?
So they can find me on Facebook. Ade Adesuyi.
Okay.
You can find me also on Instagram
Mhm.
at ADESUYIA. And
Okay.
you can go to my website, myvitacin.com, www.myvitacine.com.
Awesome. So they will post that information so that I can show it.
Okay.
So people can be can go there. But go to my Vitacin. I am going to go there. I actually
Okay.
did not know you had that website.
A lot of people don't know.
So
I'm very low. I'm very low key.
I'm
I'm very low
going to
key.
study it, for my 2021,
Hmm.
health plan. Just
Okay.
study and say where do I need to make some adjustments
Right.
and all that. So I'm
Okay.
looking forward
Awesome.
to going there, and I recommend everybody to go there. So you can find him on Facebook as Ade Adesuyi. So you can send him a direct message, reach out to him, friend him, all that, and then you can also find him on Instagram too. So
Hmm.
we'll post that. So thank you, thank you, thank you so much,
Thank you.
everyone. This is where we are going to be wrapping up for 2020 for Light
Hmm.
360. It's been a wonderful, amazing role since we started. Just shortly after this the shutdown for the pandemic, started.
Yeah.
It's just been powerful. The discussions that we have had on this show, the people that we have brought on this show, and the impact that it has had on people, the feedback that I get from people for how the stories of people have impacted them. So I want to thank you all for following. I want to especially thank Pastor Olumide Ajigene. I want to thank
Yeah.
him because every episode, the first manager was Peace. I want to appreciate her too
Yeah.
for the season 1 that we had this year. It was she was getting all the guests and doing all that. And then Pastor Olumide took over and has been doing an awesome work, communicating with people back and forth, lining up guests, for 4 days in a week. And some people may cancel, some people may, just all kinds of adjustment. And then he's there on Facebook and posting and watching and doing all that. I want to appreciate you, Pastor Olu. Thank you. And of course, thank you also, Pastor Olu, for introducing me to through the event that you organized, and you invited me to come and speak there. That's how I got to meet Ade 17 years ago, and it's been a wonderful relationship, one of the vital relationships of my life that I truly honor and I really appreciate God for.
Yep.
So thank you everybody for following up. Look out for season 3 coming in 2021, where we're going to add some more spice to it and some adjustments. Send us your suggestions too if you want to. You can always reach me at Pastor Lan on all the platforms. At Pastor Lan on all the platforms. So you can reach out to me, you can send me a message, follow me, like the YouTube, subscribe to the YouTube channel, youtube.com/Pastor Lan. Follow my page on Facebook, on Instagram, and follow me on Twitter at Pastor Lan too. And you can give me more information on what you want to see on Light 360 in 2021. While we're going to be kicking it off in February, so we're going to take January to plan and plot, and then we're going to start season 3 in February. So I thank you and I appreciate you all for following. So with that, Dr. Adesuyi and I, we're going to be signing off. You can stay. Ade will just leave the live broadcast. So
take it easy.
Merry Christmas. Happy New Year, happy holidays, happy Hanukkah, happy Kwanzaa, whatever, just
right.
all the holidays, God bless you all. And, I pray that you have an awesome ending of 2021. If you are in Chicago, the Chicago area, and even other parts of the world watching right now, since we're doing virtual services, you can watch our services, City Light Church, 11 a.m. on Sunday. We're having an event coming up called Christmas of Light. That is going to be a powerful one. So you can join and watch the citylight.org, or you can find it on my page. Also, the Life Development Center, is a collaborator for this Light 360. It's our empowerment development nonprofit with the purpose of unleashing the potentials of people and places all around the world. Right now, we are functional. We have nexus in 12 nations. And this morning, I got the great news that one of our chapters was incorporated in the nation of Malawi just today. Nice. So just excited about what God is doing in spreading His light. So you can always follow the Life Development Center too at the Life Development Center on all the social media networks and all that. And you can also reach out to us. So God bless you. We will see you later. So we'll sign